Alright, so I've been a little suspicious of Voidstrap ever since I caught wind of the fact that they added a flag bypass, and I was curious and looked into it because for some reason this is not open source at all on the repository. Like this code is still in like 1.0.7.1, and one example of proof is this right here. This file is still dated 1.0.7.1, but it could still be like unmodified, who knows? But you can see the last commit was 2 weeks ago, but they're still making releases. So everything flag bypass related is not open source, but I'm gonna make it open source because this is freaking C#. And I'll show you what it's doing and why you should not download Voidstrap because it will definitely get you banned. And maybe a virus, I don't know that part though. But I'll show you exactly what it's doing. So let's go ahead and download this exe and pop it into my little inspection folder where I will be doing my investigation. Ignore my previous downloads, that's kind of a spoiler. I did a previous analysis, but I'm gonna do it again just for like with better continuity for the video. Okay, so you might just try and pop this into deinspire the first thing you do. But if you actually look at it, Voidstrap doesn't have anything to really see. So you might be thinking, oh shit. But that's just how things are for single file applications. Voidstrap uses single file to publish, and you can see this in the repository like the CS proj. And basically, it just compresses all the assets into one exe. So all we need to really do is just pull up a tool that can actually read single file distributions and extract it. So I have something here, sf extract. We can run it on Voidstrap and send it to an output folder. And this is what Voidstrap actually looks like. It's a normal for a .NET application. And here's our actual code. And I prefer to use IOSpy because it can actually properly look into like more types of functions. So let's just throw it in here. And this is Voidstrap 1079. And one thing I want to show you is the flag bypass that it applies. So if we look in here, the apply modifications function, it has this new thing that does not exist in the repository, which is fast flag bypass update 4. And this seems to copy some sort of like client app settings JSON. You might think it's just like the normal client path, like, oh, this is fine. But there's also this run fflag runner drag drop async. And it's also being fed the path where it wrote the client settings to. So why don't we check what that actually is? And it's right here. So, okay, new run start, FLAGBypasser exe, and we have a download link to a separate exe to bypass flags. Small editor's note here, I just found this picture from BitDancer posting on GitHub, specifically pointing out that people are getting banned from using Voidstrap, and also mentions a name called BunnySense. And you'll hear me talking later in the video about the fact that Voidstrap used to bundle a different kind of flag bypass that was C# based. Now that was specifically called BunnySense on the repository. So yeah, Voidstrap is being quite literally called out by BitDancer for being an exploit, and also by Blue Pilled Great. So let's stop using it. Now, we can just take a look at this real quick, convert this to a normal GitHub link. I did not write .com, ignore that. Okay, so not open source. This is definitely reputable, but let's download this. Let's take a look at what it's actually doing here. Okay, so now I've downloaded the exe here. I'm not gonna run it for obvious reasons, but I will show you that attempting to inspect it does not yield any results because this was compiled with C++. So this cannot be inspected, unlike Voidstrap. And so that makes it way more suspicious. And I decided to take this into VirusTotal and check what it's doing. And it has 23 out of 72 flags with some very concerning tags like game modding. And so I noticed in the community tab, there's this filescan.io that has provided a very helpful report on this file where, okay, it's a confirmed threat. Apparently it's called Dennis Premium for some reason. Maybe that, I don't know what's up with that. But we can see in the top threat indicators, there's two things. We'll have to open this like more. There's two things that makes me concerned that this is definitely going to ban people, which is PE imports APIs used to manipulate / query other processes. So we have opening processes, reading their memory, but okay, that's fine. You know, it doesn't actually like do anything, right? Well, what's this? Imports APIs used for memory manipulation. We have write process memory, virtual protect. I don't know what virtual protect does. Let me actually look up this function. Virtual protect is often used by malware to modify memory protection. So you're telling me that Voidstrap downloads an exe and executes it, and this specific exe has functions for read process memory, open process, write process memory, and virtual protect. Virtual protect, which can modify memory protection. Yeah, so it should be pretty clear by now. This is not safe, and you should not be messing with this. And don't take my word for it. I predicted all of this 3 days ago when I first looked into this. Now, when I looked into this 3 days ago, they were using a different flag bypass that was still C# based, but still implemented functions for writing process memory. And so I specifically pointed out, oh, this is still going to get people banned. It tampers with memory. And at some point, the developer of the flag bypass that I had found that Voidstrap used to use replied to me saying, "You're right, but BunnySense has survived around 2 ban waves by now, Lamau. BitDancer can suck it." So I played the card of mentioning the fact that BunnySense was recently integrated into Voidstrap with, we'll see if anything happens. I noticed BitDancer is aware of Voidstrap's existence, and BunnySense's recent integration into the bootstrapper could bring attention to it. And then I get a reply again. To be fair, if instead of patching proper exploits and people being able to DDoS Roblox servers they're in with small packets, BitDancer just looks at flags for little kids who have garbage PCs, he really is the weird pedophile everyone says he is. What are you on about? Now, the thread ends there. I didn't reply to this. I had no reason to. And I was just baffled by this. And can you guess what happened to the issues page after the thread ended? Oh, I'll show you.